How do I search for a remote job? How am I going to find that dream job, the job that I want to do every day while traveling the world or while spending more time with my family? That's the question we're going to answer today. My name is Nienke Nina. I'm the host of the Digital Nomads Daily podcast. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to find that dream job. And there's a couple of tips that we talked about on the podcast. And I'm so excited to share these tips with you here today in this video. As you might have seen, remote job platforms are popping up like mushrooms. There are so many remote job platforms. We actually have an article on our website, 22 job platforms that you can use to find a remote job. And while that sounds really promising, the catch is that finding a remote job, actually finding any job, it's a job on its own. Like finding a job takes a lot of time. Emotionally, it can sometimes even be hard, like mentally, emotionally. So that also goes for a remote job. Some people say that finding a remote job is even harder. It's not the job itself, but it's more like if this job is going to match with your lifestyle, because not every remote job is exactly the same. And today in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the different types of remote jobs and also give you some insights on what you could search for. How do I know this information? First of all, I interview a lot of digital nomads. So on the podcast, every week we have different episodes coming out with experienced digital nomads. The one thing that I do is I ask, how do you do it? How did you start your business? How do you find friends? How are you not alone? How did you find a remote job? And what I found is that there are many different ways on how to do this. But if there is one person that knows how to find a remote job, it's Jordan Carroll. He is also known as the remote job coach, and he was with me on the podcast talking about how to find a remote job. He is someone that knows everything about it. So this video is just going to give you the highlights of the conversation. And if you want to read more about this and other questions, you can always have a look at our book, Digital Nomads with Confidence. But let's dive deep into this question. The very first thing that you need to know when you're going to look for a remote job is what kind of job do you want to do? And it's important because if you're going to work remotely and you're going to travel the world and you're going to do all these cool things, you also want to make sure that half of your awakened time, you're actually doing something that you enjoy doing or that you enjoy being part of a company or enjoy being part of a team. This is sometimes a little bit difficult because you cannot really know that beforehand, but there are some things that you could do to have better chances to, like increase the opportunity. It starts with yourself. What do you want to do? How does your job look like? Like, how does your day look like? Do you want to work full time? Or perhaps you want to work part time because you also have a freelance thing or a side hustle. Okay. So tip number 1, map out your needs and desires. Use a mind map. This could be in a pen and paper. You can do it online. You can even draw it in the sand, although I recommend to take a picture because otherwise you might lose it. All right. So map out what are your desires? How does it look like? You want to work full time, part time? Do you want to have geographic freedom? So that basically means, are you going to be stuck to a certain time zone or a location like a continent? Or it shouldn't matter. And I understand that a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I want like all the freedom. But the reality is that sometimes that's not possible. So you need to define that for yourself. How important is that? Okay. So that's one thing. Now, when you think about time zones, the cool thing is, for example, if you are working for an American company and you are required to be online or around in American hours, what you could do is you could travel a bit more in South America. There's a lot of countries there. Some nomad hubs as well, like Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, popping up right now. I'm currently talking from Brazil. So then you are still closer to the US time zone, which is a really great way to be remote and in that same time zone. If you have that situation with the job that you need to be aligned around like American hours and you want to go to Asia, that's going to be hard, people, because you got to work in the middle of the night. And that is not good. Like, you're not gonna like show up at your best, and it's still your work. So, you don't want to get fired from it. So it's important to map out all your needs and desires. And what I would do is just take your time to visualize that. Like visualize big and don't think in limitations. Just like write down the things that are important to you. I do this quite often just to check in with myself. And this is how I visualize how my business, Digital Nomads Daily, should be. And it's actually a really great exercise that I teach other people in a workshop because it's kind of like a me map. So you really want to like map out who you are, what's important to you, what kind of work do you want, what kind of space, what are the requirements, what are the non-negotiables, like these things, map it out. It's okay to have desires put out on paper, okay? Number 2, have a online resume. And when we say online resume, I'm not referring to that PDF where you say, this is my name, this is how old I am, this is where I'm from, these are all my work experiences. I think a modern resume is just so much more than that. For remote companies, it's really important that they can see that you don't have a perfect, just like a school, like, oh, you went to this school, that's great, high five. It's important that you are potentially a good remote colleague. So what I would do, add the tools that you know already. If you have worked in a project management tool like Trello, Monday.com, Asana, there's a bunch more, show your software. If you know how to use Slack or Microsoft Teams, show that on your resume because that's something that people will catch their attention. Like, oh, this person has used Slack before already. Oh, and Asana as well. Even if they don't use Asana, like fine, like at least you understand that there is online project management, which is extremely important for collaboration, team collaboration. The other thing that you want to do in your modern resume is that it's online, right? So you could have, and this is a super easy hack, you can create a super nice online resume, for example, in Canva. Make sure it's designed nicely, but still professional. There's a lot of like bells and whistles that you can hang on your resume. I don't think that's necessary. Just make it professionally. And what you do is that you can save that design in Canva as a viewer, and then you can get a link, like a viewing link. So when you're going to send out a resume, yes, you send the PDF, but maybe someone is on their phone, they don't want to download the PDF, whatever. Send the link so they can just click and go to it. That is so much easier than the hassle of downloading it, looking for it, whatever. And then they can also forward the email without like thinking about, oh, the attachment is missing and all of that stuff. So make your online resume not just online, but make it accessible. There's different ways. You can design it in Canva. You can use a Google Drive, but sometimes with a Google Drive is that the person that's viewing it needs to ask for permission, which is kind of nice because then you know that they're actually going to look at it. But if you're not online because you're hanging out on an island or something, then they cannot look at it right away. So maybe that's not a good idea. If you have a website, that would be amazing too. And I would definitely use your website. But if you don't have a website, that doesn't mean that you cannot do it, okay? Now, the online resume is not only the PDF. The online resume is also your LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn is extremely important. Actually, if you're spending no time on LinkedIn and you're looking for a remote job, you're missing out on this massive opportunity. It's like, I'm telling you, you're missing out. There is a whole world out there on LinkedIn. And I discovered that this year. I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to LinkedIn, but it's helping people. It's like amazing. Now, what's important on LinkedIn is that your profile is cleaned up. So that means that it shows what is necessary for other people to know, okay? So maybe your job in the grocery store is not so important if you're like just a cashier. Not to say that your job was not important, but for the people that are going to look at it. The other thing on LinkedIn is that you can add experiences, volunteering work, maybe a portfolio that you have. So that's really great if people are going to go in your LinkedIn and see, hey, what's this person doing? But a LinkedIn profile can be so much more than that. You could also be more active on LinkedIn, and it doesn't have to be posting every single day. But hey, if you can scroll on Instagram or TikTok, maybe you should take 30 minutes of that time, put it in LinkedIn. once a week and make a post about something that matters to you and perhaps even the industry or the field that you want to work in. Doing that, you get more attention to your profile. And also, when companies are going to look for you and they want to see who you are, how you communicate, what you're doing. It's nice that they can see your interest in a very organic way because they're going to check, okay, what's the profile photo? What is the experience? Oh, this person has a portfolio. Oh, there are some posts. I'm going to read it. Then you can really market yourself or sell yourself better. So let's give an example. Maybe you want to be part of a beauty company and a vegan beauty company, let's say. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to start posting things about that industry. Maybe you want to reshare some research. Maybe you want to follow some people. Maybe you want to share something that you saw on Instagram that you found very interesting. It's just, you don't have to go crazy, guys. You don't have to go like super like, oh, I need to post every single day. I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. But just being there and show what are you all about? What is important for other people to know about you? Then when they find you, they have such a better picture of who you are. Like, it's a very good sales strategy, okay? All right. So the next tip is perhaps a bit more if you are in a creative field, but if you have a portfolio, make sure that people also can view that portfolio. So that could be similar to that online resume example with Canva that I showed. It could also be on your LinkedIn. Actually, what you could do, and this is even a better tip, if you have your resume and your portfolio on your LinkedIn profile, you can, if you click on LinkedIn, you get a link. Use that link for people to watch it. So then, or to view it. So what you do is you send the email like, "Hi, I'm this person. I would like to apply for this job because blah 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 blah." You can look at my portfolio via this link, and my online resume available is via this link. Everything goes to LinkedIn, but what's really cool is that they will directly land on your document. And on top of that, they're already in your environment. Then they probably start browsing. Ooh, who's this person? What's on this LinkedIn? Oh, it's a very neat profile. Yeah, we should invite him or her because you took care of things. It's like a shop. So you can use LinkedIn not just to have like an updated profile. You can really utilize it and add some documents in there. Maybe you want to do like a video if you have been searching for a month and you're like, ugh, this is so frustrating. Record a video like this, like 2 minutes, like not like this because this is a long format, but 2 minute video, who you are, what's important for you, what kind of job you're looking for, what kind of company you're looking for, like what's important to you. Post that on your LinkedIn, and you can do the same, like share that in the post, like, "Hi, I'm looking for it." If you want to like have a sense of my voice, here's a video. So LinkedIn, the best place, definitely more valuable than any job platform out there, okay? Aside from LinkedIn, there's also other profiles. So for example, Instagram, Facebook, very important. So just to increase your chances, what you want to do is also show on those profiles that you are looking for a remote position, because there might be someone in your network that knows something, and boom, it's right there. I have an example of that from my personal life. Actually, I have two examples. I will keep this very short. One is that when I was struggling to find a remote job, I had an opportunity in a beauty company. I talk about this in another video. But what happened is that I never found that job. The job found me because people in my network knew that I was looking for a remote job. There was a Facebook group where my previous boss, he posted there about the job. And then someone tagged me, this person, I don't even know this person so well. I met this person 2 times in a party, and I was literally saying like, I need a remote job because I was pretty desperate at the time. And then this person tagged me. And then I worked for that company for 2 years, people. It's crazy. So tell people that you're looking for a remote job. Make sure it's also available, like it's shown on your profiles. And don't be embarrassed about that, please. Like, everyone is looking for opportunities and a job. And if you're just like, hey, I'm looking for a job in this kind of field, good, like share it. It's just one post, like get the attention out there. It's really a great way. Okay, so update your profiles. All right, so far we had a couple of things that you're going to do to find that job, right? Another thing that is super easy that you can do, and this, trust me, this really doesn't take a lot of work, is that you will join communities and groups online where job seekers and companies meet. So this could be a group on Facebook, like remote jobs for X or remote job for what. But it's a very clever way. Also, the example that I gave just now is that it was a Facebook group that someone tagged me. Like if I wouldn't be part of the Facebook group, I wouldn't know like that. It's just so crazy. So there is a ton of groups out there. Some are very specialized. Some are just for men. Some are just for females. Like you can like just go on Facebook and search for those groups. We have a couple on our website, so we'll share some link. But just make sure that you're part of communities. Now, the other thing that you can do is actually applying for jobs, and this is something I just really want to clear the air on this one. The job platforms, they're great places to find jobs, but the competition is incredibly high because you're not the only one like strolling around all those job platforms. There's various job platforms. In our resources, we have a list of job platforms that are not shady at all. We also group them in like this is more for startups, this is more for design kind of jobs. So we try to group them a little bit, but job platforms are important, but they can be pretty daunting as well because it's sometimes you're just talking to a wall, seriously. Like you're like applying for jobs on these job platforms. First of all, it takes a lot of time. So you have to bear in mind that your job not like one click away, like, oh, I'm gonna apply here, I'm gonna apply here, I'm gonna apply there, I'm gonna apply here, and I'm gonna apply to this one, apply. It doesn't work like that. Every time you apply, you need to go through like fields, so you need to fill out stuff, you need to have a cover letter. You don't want to mess that up. I have received cover letters where people were referring a different company. I'm like, but I'm Digital Nomads Daily. Like, are you like templated cover letters? It's a great way, but you still need to tweak it a little bit. So Jamie, who joined the podcast, is a freelancer. And even though this was an advice from like a freelancing perspective, it's a really good advice also for job seekers. And I really love it. So her technique was to apply for 5 gigs. So for job seekers, that would be jobs a day. That means that by the end of the week, of a 5-day sort of work week, she would have 25 applications out there. And she would just work a couple of hours on that. And it really worked out because sometimes she didn't get anything back. Sometimes she would land things. And like over time, she got better at it and she reduced it because she got enough work as a freelancer. But the same applies for a remote job. Like create a schedule when you're going to do certain things. So you know what you want. You have put everything out there, like people know that you're searching. Then when you're going to apply, make sure that you have a bit of a schedule. Like maybe 5 is too much for you in the beginning because it's very overwhelming. Maybe you want to start with 3 jobs a day, but make a habit of it. Do that every day. Also make sure you check out the platforms, you check out what's happening on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way. And when you're gonna look for a remote job, make sure you read the job description. All right, we're almost at the end of this video. There is one more tip that I want to give, and that is for those who are really, really at the start of this journey and they think they don't have enough skills yet. We have all been there. Like maybe it doesn't feel like that, but we have all been there. So first of all, use that me map from that I talked about earlier to write down your skills. If you can design things, if you can use a certain software, those are skills. Now, if you find yourself that you don't have any work experience yet, one of the things that you could do is do an internship or take a course. For example, Digital Nomad Anne, she wasn't really sure what to do. She took a course, Virtual Assistant, and in that course, they touched on various things. And then she found out about podcasting. Couple of years later, after like trial and error, she runs a podcast agency. So you really need to start somewhere, and yeah, by taking courses and learning online, you can already start and really prepare yourself. And before we go, one of the most important things is that trust yourself, have the discipline, to actually go after that job, it's going to be a process and it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So just really be kind to yourself, have the discipline to find that job, but also give yourself the time to find the right job. Like, if you're gonna, like I always say this, if you spend like half of your waking time on a job, you better like it, you better like the company. Okay, so I really wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions, just drop them here in the comments below. You can reach out to us on Instagram. We're at Digital Nomads Daily, or check out our website. We have a ton of resources. And if you then still don't know what to do, like, just come have a chat with us, and make sure to check out the podcast. There's a ton of tips there, and it's a really amazing way to share what's happening behind the scenes. Thanks so much for watching. Happy nomading and happy remote job hunting. And we see you in the next video.